Hello, welcome to Inkspot. My name's Cliffe. So, I just want to introduce myself. I'm a published author. I published under the name of Steve Cliffe, so I'll just kind of shorten my name a little bit. I've been writing professionally I've been writing about just over 3 years now, but I've always had an interest in writing ever since I was a child. I was originally born in a little town in the United Kingdom called Retford, which is very close, like Nottinghamshire-Yorkshire border. Retford has two claims to fame. One, it's the town where the Pilgrim Fathers came from, that journeyed across to the Americas. And second, its proximity is very close to Sherwood Forest. So the whole culture around that part of the world is about Robin Hood and all the stories that go with that. So that's Retford. I also grew up in a family that loved to tell stories, and I always remember as a kid you'd always go to bed with a bedtime story, like a fairy story. Three Little Pigs and Three Billy Goats Gruff. I really loved those. But we'd also do a lot of camping, caravanning, that kind of stuff, and we'd always invariably either find ourselves sat around one of those camping gas lanterns, you know, that are like really bright, or we'd kind of get a campfire going and we'd sit around those crackling, wonderful amber flames and try and keep out of the smoke because it gets in your eyes. It's like, so we'd always be around there, but we'd always be telling stories. And you make up a ghost story, make up that kind of stuff, but also you get to hear the stories of my granddads. My granddads when they were kids, and the antics and the daft things that they got up to. And it was almost like a different layer. You saw them in a different way. You saw them as young people that's doing daft things just like my childhood was riddled with. And that passed from them to me through the art of storytelling. So I was always interested in storytelling, and I always, like all my travels around the world, I come across cultures and communities over and over again where storytelling is the biggest part of what they do. And these are typically cultures that don't have access to social media, cinema, TV and all that. Get rid of that. They entertain themselves by telling stories. And certainly my childhood, like I just said, was brought up telling stories. So when I started going to school and started doing English, there was a big part of that started to teach you ways of telling stories other than starting with Once Upon a Time and knitting a story together. And I always remember my school days, a lot of it was actually writing stories. And if you was not writing stories, you was listening to other people's stories, like through the storybooks that you read. And I always remember one of my favourite ones when I was in the junior school was the Pirate series. So you got the Blue Pirate, and you got Gregory the Green and the Sea Witch and the Red Pirate and all those kind of things. They were really good during the day. But the other thing with those stories, when you think back to them, is there was only very, very small books, and there was only a couple of sentences on each page, and then there was a fantastic illustration, which a lot of the kids' books in the 70s were kind of formatted. And what that actually did was just sowed a seed, and then you'd be able to tell your own story using those characters. They're incredibly imaginative. And I found, like growing up in the 1970s, a lot of the stuff was incredibly imaginative. So it kind of fed into your own storytelling ability. And you've only got to look at the TV in the 1970s, how off the wall it kind of is. So English and story writing was a subject that I didn't so much have a talent in it, but I had an interest in it, and I could write stories down very kind of easily and quickly. And then going off from that, I always think the schooling part, it sowed a seed in me, where I went through my 20s, because 20s is a very, very complicated, and you bring up young family, that kind of stuff, so there's very limited time that I could like do creative things. But then getting into my 30s, I'm starting to get a few ideas going, life's slowing down a little bit, into my 40s, and now, when did I start? Probably 48, I think I started writing Night Stares. But I've had all these years of ideas building up into my head. So finally started putting pen to paper, or finger to pad, so to say, and got my first novel out. Now I must say, getting a novel out and finishing a novel is a phenomenally rewarding experience. You can give yourself a great big slap on the back. It is brilliant. And then you have a choice to make, whether you are a one-book author, a one-book wonder as we call them, or you're going to get straight on with your next novel. And that's kind of what I've done, and that's where I am now. So in terms of writing, and the way that I want to go with Inkspot, is I've got a couple of really good friends. I've got Melanie, who's my author, she's my editor, sorry. She's also an author of her own book, which is absolutely fantastic. She's also an amazing artist, so she's got all these avenues going off at the same time, trying to knit it all together. And I've got my good friend Frank Taliber, and Frank's also a published author. I think he's on his third novel at the moment. But he's into going to all these writers' conferences and talks and all that kind of stuff. So when I'm in town, he drags me along to one of them, and we have a great fun together, because we just mess about all the way through it. And there's a video already posted about a writers' conference that we went to, so check that out. And one thing that I find from going to these writers' conferences is the notion that writing a book is a very isolated experience. You spend a lot of time on your own in front of your computer, just typing away and getting your ideas down. But going to conferences and things is an underriding thing, that you're not on your own, you're not alone, that there's a community around you that shares hints, tips, tricks, supports, encourages, that you can sit down and have your manuscript looked at and kind of critiqued in the way, the direction that you're taking it. So it's lessening these natural challenges and boundaries that you get, and there's this sense of giving back to this writing community, to our writing community, to your writing community. So that's what where I want to go with Inkspot, is to share my ideas, my challenges, and what I've hit along the way, and hope that it encourages you to get creative, get writing. Because the one thing about creative writing is we all do creative writing because that's what we want to do, that's what we like to do. So it's making it as an enjoyable hobby, business, however you want to describe it, as possible. And as I say, sharing our journeys is a big part of that. So I started Inkspot, well, I started 2 channels on YouTube. First one being Inkspot. His sister channel is called The Trambling Man. I've got his t-shirt on at the moment. I spend a lot of time travelling around different cultures, different places, travel all across the world, and I'm into adventure, travel, video creation. So I also run the channel Trambling Man, and that is my kind of video creation channel and my experiences and adventures all across the world that I like to share. It's done in a very light-hearted, funny way. And I also like test out different pieces of equipment, that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in all that, give it a go. Pop over and have a look. I think we've got about 8 videos up at the moment. So, but on Inkspot, what I want to do is make it a collaborative channel. So It's not all about me rabbiting on about different things about being an author, writing books, that kind of stuff. What I want is, I want in the comment box below is share your thoughts, your struggles, your this, that, challenges, success stories, that kind of stuff. And it gives me food for thought to make a video on that kind of stuff, in like a supportive video. And also please subscribe. Don't only subscribe yourself, but if you have creative writing friends, communities, that kind of stuff, please get them to subscribe as well, because I want to make this a big channel and a big avenue of support for creative writers like me, like you, like your friends, like everybody. So quicker we can make this grow and really start getting on with it. So hope you enjoyed this little bit of a video. As I say, it's just an introduction to what I do, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.